At the funeral, the mother opened her son's coffin. What happened next was shocking. In the quiet town of Willowbrook, the air was thick with grief as friends and family gathered for Walter's funeral. His sudden death had left everyone in shock, but none more so than his mother, Claude. She'd always been close to her son and couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong about his passing. As the mourners gathered around the coffin, Claude's heart ached with sorrow. Walter's wife, Angela, stood by the coffin, her face a mask of grief. But Claude couldn't help but notice the coldness in Angela's eyes, a stark contrast to the tears she shed. Something about Angela's demeanor felt off, and Claude's instincts told her to trust her gut. When it was time for the final goodbye, Claude approached the coffin. She leaned in to kiss her son's forehead, but as she did, she noticed something unusual. Walter's lips were slightly parted, and there was a faint, strange odor emanating from his mouth. Claude's heart raced as she realized that this was not normal. Driven by a mother's intuition, Claude decided to take a closer look. She gently opened Walter's mouth and was horrified to see traces of a greenish substance. Her mind raced with possibilities, and she knew she had to act quickly. She called for the funeral director and demanded that the coffin be taken to the coroner for further examination. The coroner's findings were shocking. Walter had been poisoned, and the substance found in his mouth was a rare and deadly toxin. The news spread like wildfire, and the once somber funeral turned into a scene of chaos and confusion. Angela's facade of grief quickly crumbled as she realized that her secret was about to be exposed. The police launched an investigation into Walter's death, and all eyes turned to Angela. It was revealed that Walter had fallen ill and slipped into a coma just weeks before his death. During that time, Angela had been the primary caregiver, ostensibly taking care of her ailing husband. As the investigation unfolded, more disturbing details came to light. The detectives discovered that Walter had a substantial inheritance from his late father, a fact that Angela was well aware of. Financial records showed that Angela had been making large withdrawals from their joint account in the weeks leading up to Walter's death. It became clear that Angela had a motive: greed. She wanted Walter's inheritance all to herself and was willing to go to any lengths to get it. Under the pressure of mounting evidence, Angela finally broke down and confessed. She admitted to poisoning Walter with a rare toxin she had acquired online. Her plan had been meticulously calculated, believing that once Walter was out of the way, she would inherit his substantial estate. The police promptly arrested Angela on charges of murder, and she was taken into custody to await trial. Claude's intuition and determination had been instrumental in uncovering the truth about her son's death. Though grieving, she found a renewed sense of purpose in seeking justice for Walter. Throughout the investigation and subsequent trial, Claude remained a steadfast presence in the courtroom, her resolve unwavering. The trial was a high-profile event in the small town, drawing significant media attention. The prosecution laid out a compelling case against Angela, detailing her motive, the timeline of events, and the toxicology reports that confirmed the presence of a rare poison in Walter's system. As the trial progressed, witnesses, including neighbors and medical experts, testified about Angela's suspicious behavior and the unusual circumstances surrounding Walter's illness and coma. Claude's testimony was particularly powerful as she recounted the moment she discovered the greenish substance in her son's mouth, prompting the investigation that led to the truth. After weeks of testimonies and deliberations, the jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict. Angela was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The verdict brought a sense of closure to the community and, most importantly, to Claude, who had fought tirelessly for justice.